And here we are, episode 2. And miraculously, we will be alive after having our first encounter, hopefully the last one, with that Visant. And now we are going to be just fine. Here we are. And now we know not to get too close to them. Now, of course, we could run around and explore. We could even just follow the quests that we can see on the right side. In fact, it would be quite easy to try and setting up a trap. So we go here into our building menu, and a rabbit trap requires 10 sticks. 10 sticks, easily done. I think I'm gonna partially play with the HUD off like this and just have like a pure roleplay kind of experience. But I think in this instance, when we're just building and doing stuff, sort of breaking the fourth wall, I think it's fine to play with the UI on. But obviously, if you have a different opinion, you are free to share that, because I like hearing opinions, even if they don't agree with me. That's a lie, I hate that, but you're still free to share yours with me. So we're just gonna keep gathering resources, I guess, for now. We can even speed this up a bit. To be honest, I'm actually always building here. And there we go, we have unlocked the resource storage. Is that a tree? Or a person? Probably a tree. Let's say it's a tree. Let's hope it's a tree. Yeah, so whenever I've played Medieval Dynasty, when I haven't played on the new Oxbow map, I've always built here. Like, this is my home. I love this lake. I love being here. I love building a village here. To me, it makes perfect sense to be here for several reasons. Number 1, drinking water. Number 2, fishing. Number 3, you are very close to Denitsa, so if you need to sell resources or buy something yourself, you will find some things at least here. And what else? Right, so later on in the game, you can also unlock a mine to obviously gather resources like iron ore, copper ore, what else? Or stone and other kind of resources. And this is also quite close. Maybe we can I don't really have a weapon yet other than my own copper axe, but we will see. I'm definitely going to show you guys around. Obviously, some players, I mean, this is an ongoing debate between Medieval Dynasty players, as far as I know. You know, some people, when you look at the map, some people will say, oh, this here is the best place to build, or this is the best place to build. And I think this is all good and fine. You know, obviously, wherever people enjoy to have their village, that's where they should have their village. Maybe here in the swamp, up north, if they want it to be that way. I've just fallen in love with this lake. Always have, always will. I always have my routes where I can go. Always follow this river here, the waterfall, and then to Denitsa and to Lesnitsa and to all the other places. Keep setting waypoints accidentally. So yeah, now we kind of just keep building. But of course, you don't just want to place everything randomly, even though you can even, and I'm going to show this later on, you can even change the position of buildings that you have built. That is totally possible. So let's maybe... Oh, this hammer is already coming to an end almost. Shall we build the resource storage first, is the question. I think that would be a fair assumption to make. Yeah. So as we can see here, it gives us an overview how many resources this is going to require. The answer is a lot. The least of our worries will be the stone. That is only 12, but 34 logs. That means most of these trees that we can see right now, they will be gone. So yeah, that is going to be a first major building operation. Where are we gonna put it though? This is the question. I always like to keep it kind of perpendicular to the house, somewhat. And also, I don't want to be too close to the house. I think maybe this is a good spot. Yeah. This is pretty much going to be, at least in the very beginning, the center of the village. We have to keep that in mind. So here we go. Now we need 12 rocks. But we also shouldn't forget that, well, number one, there are the wizards nearby. And they are just as angry as they were at the end of the first episode. Potentially. And if I'm not mistaken, in this direction there are some boars who are just as angry as the wizards for some reason. I don't know what they have against humans, but I'm sure they have their reasons. So I better not mess with them. Originally I wanted to collect rocks, but for some reason I'm collecting sticks right now. Is that because I wanted to make a rabbit trap? Probably. Let's do that right here where we can see it very easily. There you go. You can only build one at a time. But this will sort of guarantee at least a little bit of meat for us to survive. Right? Now we can talk about how not eating so much meat would be good. I agree. But back in the day you could not always choose. You had to eat whatever you could get your hands on. And if we walk into this little conjunction here, we see a lot of berries. But if we actually pluck these berries, then we see that they are actually not yet ripe. So that means if we try to eat them, we will just poison ourselves. We have to keep that in mind. So these will only become ripe in summer. And for those of you wondering, I have set the season length to 12 days. Now, I don't always play out the 12 days. You can, I think the minimum amount is 3 days that you have to stay in one season. I have collected 0 rocks. Oh, why? The minimum amount you have to stay in one season is 3 days. And after that, you can technically progress into the next season whenever you want, simply by sleeping. So, just like in real life. Oh, there's logs here. Huh. We're definitely gonna need every single log that we can get. But where are the stones? We have this kind of focus view. This is kind of what you hear when the sound is kind of muffled. Later on it will allow us to see the resources on the ground as highlights, and even the animals that we might want to hunt, or might need to hunt, I should say. And that is a very useful tool, but for now it is rather cumbersome because it actually requires stamina, which is something we can later change. Yeah, this is a good amount of rocks here, and sticks. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky. The camera may not be looking in the same direction that we are looking. Oof, it's getting heavy. And this is not a mushroom, that is a stone, yes. Actually, we already have all the stone that we need. Did I hear... I think there was a... Are they wandering further than I thought they are? Oh no. But from my experience, as I have built here not for the first time, eventually the more buildings you are setting up, then the spawn points for the animals will actually change after each season. So With some luck, these dangerous wizards here, they will be gone. Alright. Thank you, game. Not reading the tutorials. I don't think I ever have. I would say most of the stuff in this game is quite self-explanatory. And a few things that may be confusing, you... Yeah, I've broken my first hammer, okay. Time to make a new one. What was I saying? I don't even know. Let's just build these logs in here. And then let's get chopping. Now, birch trees are really something that doesn't make you very happy as a player. For the simple reason that birch trees only ever give 2 logs at a time. Whereas most of the other trees actually give you 3 or more. Okay. Now I think we have enough to complete the frame. Not quite. We need 1 more log. And it is already getting dark. And I'm actually quite thirsty. And cold and hungry. I'm everything. We are just suffering here. But these are medieval times, so some level of suffering is to be expected. But now we can finally complete the frame. There you go. But still, I actually have a lot of sticks already. That is very good. We can finish 1 wall. And put the rest of the sticks in as far as we can get. But yes, we shouldn't forget to eat and drink. Because if we do, what is going to happen is our health bar is going to deplete. And obviously when it reaches 0, then it's game over. Apparently the game wants me to craft all sorts of things. I'll be honest, I don't really want to. At least not right now. What I would really want to do is, I guess, just get some water. Yep, they are wondering. Oh shit. That is not good news, to be honest. I definitely do not want to catch their attention again. We're just gonna go. We're gonna hope that tomorrow it will be a nice and clear day without any rain. Oh, why not? Let's have an oat roll and maybe 2 apples. Ooh, back to 100. That's nice. What else do we need to put away? Some of this, some of this. Everything in this game has weight. Anyway, time to sleep. As you can see here, we've spent our 2nd day in the season, so 1 more day and then we can progress to the next season, which obviously would be summer, but we just want to sleep. And fingers crossed, a beautiful day, sunny and nice. Very good. But let's just have a look. Is that? Yes, it is. They are really quite close, aren't they? Yeah, I definitely cannot chop down any trees on that side. I have to stay on this side for now. And all these birch trees, they need to go. I'm actually allergic to birch. Fun fact. So They are nice trees, don't get me wrong. They look really nice, but they are trying to kill me. Every year. Usually around March. Okay. That's 2 down. 5 million to go. Hello, Mr. Crow. Now I think any experienced medieval dynasty player is going to look at this open land and say, ah, perfect for the fields. And I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking that we're going to place our first field quite soon. And then try to see what we can grow. Oh, there's already a dead rabbit in here. And I'm so happy I don't have to hunt this one, because I'm going to show that to you, but it makes a very heartbreaking noise when you actually kill them. And I'm sorry every single time. And that convinces me actually that in medieval times I would have just died. Like right away. No chance. Whoa. A little bit jumpy, aren't we? No, obviously, realistically, you can get used to killing your animal after you've done it a few times in order to escape your own death. Unless it's an animal that can kill you, and then maybe you'll die anyway in the process. But yeah, it's just something that obviously nowadays for us living in modern times, where we don't even know sometimes where a steak that we're eating actually came from. It's really weird. And in a sense, it took away some of the appreciation, right? Because I think most societies back in the days, they actually worshipped the fact that they understood that they were taking a life in order to survive themselves. And they felt guilty about it. And so that's how all of this developed, right? To worship gods that sometimes had the shape of the very same animal that they had to kill in order to survive. Or sacrificing a smaller animal in order to fulfill the hunger of a bigger animal. And I'm really worried about these wizards all the time. I'm just trying to calm myself down as I'm building our very first resource storage. I can get almost all of the walls done, but then it's going to be quite the challenge, I think, to get all the straw for the roof, because there is a lot of roof on this one. But we are already halfway done. 1, 2, 3, 4 logs. 5, 6, 7, 8. Same on the other side, that's a lot of logs. All we need to know, I guess. Alright. Gonna be a little different for me. I have to kind of get used again to actually talking out loud. Obviously, as any of you will know, normally when you play by yourself, you don't necessarily talk that much. Oh no. Oof. I'm so happy that these trees do not actually cause any damage to a building. That would be horrible. What was that noise? Oh. And this here hammer is also already about to give in. 4 logs on the inside. Wow. Yeah. I am really not happy with the fact that these wizards are... They seem to be wandering more than they usually are. Isn't that typical? As soon as you record a YouTube video, then they start wandering. Always the same. Now we have unlocked the... Whoa. The woodshed. which is going to allow either for us to make planks or to hire our first villager in order to make them for us, which is really nice because then you will just have planks and logs and sticks and whatever else you want, spruce bark even if you want to. You will have it magically appear in your resource storage, which is quite impressive. But in order for this automation to actually happen, you have to actually provide them with the tools. Otherwise, they will not work. Whew, dusty in here. So, yeah, we have no more straw left. I do not... Oh, there they are. I think they're literally just resting on the side of the little river. Why are they doing that? They probably have seen me already. Now they're just curious, what am I doing here? And I'm sure they still consider this their territory, so they're kind of just being patient with me, but again, if I get too close to them, they will hunt me down. And there is no escape. At least for now. Now, in most games that I play... Ooh. Okay, for a second I was like, what is that? But that's just a deer. In most games that I play, I actually prefer having a long distance weapon. I'm not really the melee kind of guy, because I think it's dirty and it means you will get hit yourself. I don't like that. I want to fight elegantly and without taking damage myself, ideally. But usually this remains a dream and I will take damage regardless, and what happens instead is that I will get caught with my pants down because an animal decided to run at me. And then I'm standing there with my bow, which of course is very useless when you're actually in a close distance fight. Now this is a very dangerous business, but actually I think, but I could be wrong, I think wizards cannot swim. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Probably we're gonna find out. And before you asking, yes, we can swim. Getting some water on the way, why not? And then just continue collecting that straw while never taking our eyes off the world around us. I actually don't remember how much straw we needed. I'm guessing 55 should be fine. They are almost close enough to be in aggro range. Always. Alright, I think we can maybe get one roof done before the hammer is gonna break. Try to guess. Nah. Not even. Time to make a new one. Of course, if you want, you can just stack them and build, I don't know, however many you can. And then what's going to happen is, if one hammer breaks, it will be immediately replaced with the next one, which is really convenient. But in order to have that convenience, you have to then collect enough logs to begin with. So no matter what you do, it's not going to be easy. We have one log left. But I think the straw that we have will be enough to finish this, right? 8 and 8, yes. I think we should be good. Gone you are. Now, a logical question would be at this point, what happens with the stumps? Well, so here's the trick. You can make a shovel, which actually I think we may do quite soon, because it's quite a lot of logs. You may grab a shovel and get these stumps out of the ground. That means you will gain 1 full log, even though it's clearly not a full log, but whatever. For the sake of the game. If you, however, leave them in the ground as they are, after a few seasons, I do not know how many, I think it will take, I would guess it would take probably a year or 2, minimum. They will actually regrow into full-grown trees. They do that. Pretty cool. I know. Now, we need 1 more log, I think. I'm pretty sure in this direction there are no deadly animals for now. This deer. Oh. The tree just gave up halfway. Yeah, they sound kind of scary sometimes, but they don't really do anything. They will just run away from you. I wish the Byzants did the same, but they're just not like that. Nobody ever told them that they should run, so they never tried it. Lovely. And here we go. Our first resource storage. It is quite a large building. And it definitely marks the first center of our village. Right. Now we can store everything that is buildable resources, from birch seedlings, let's say. Feathers, fur, everything that is stored in here will be accessible. That means now if I start building a building, all the sticks that are in the resource storage will be magically available for me to build. So I don't have to carry them on me. Yes. And now we're going to cook some meat, because after... Damn, that stump looked like an animal. No, they're still there. I'm obsessed with them, because they scare me. Okay, now let's fry some meat. Very simple stuff. You have a little animation. And now experienced players will know, yes, I've not even turned on insta-crafting. I think for the same reasons. I just am not a huge fan of it. Like, for convenience reasons, I can totally see why anyone would do that. And I can totally see myself do that as well, if necessary. But obviously, since I'm one of those players that likes the automation part of the game, I don't really mind. I have to wait for what my villagers are producing anyway. And so that's fine. Now what are we gonna do? I think there are some options. Let's see. So I have one house. This is my house. I don't really want to share it for now, but I could. But in order to share my house, I would have to be the most charming 18-year-old the Valley has ever seen, and immediately convince a random woman that has, as of now, no idea that I exist, convince her to marry me and move in with me. Now, if I can convince her that I'm going to build my own village, and eventually it's going to grow into a city, and I'm going to be the king of the land eventually, maybe she will be impressed. Or she is going to say kurva and slap me in the face. Both are realistic options. We're going to find out which is the more realistic one. But for now, let's check what skill points we have unlocked. Extraction. So let's see, what do we have? We of course always have the basic skill, which gives more experience gain from anything that you do, which in the beginning for extraction, so like chopping down a tree, grabbing sticks, even grabbing stones from the ground, that is all part of the extraction. So we're gonna do that a lot in the beginning. So it absolutely makes sense to take this. But there's also this here. 5% chance to find extra items while digging in clay pits. Which for now, I'm not really going to be doing that. I don't really need clay at this moment. So that is going to be for later. Then we have Force of Nature. 5% slower durability loss of axes. Which is good. But I don't think... I already have a bronze axe. So it will last a bit longer anyway. So I think I'm going to go for this one. Right, so you can already see, even for me as a player who has seen these skills before, I always like to think about, okay, what really makes sense for what I currently want to do? And then I can choose, right? And there are, of course, other skills as well. I could have chosen any of these two, all the way up until this one here, one with the earth. Pickaxes and shovels, I don't even have any of these, so... and 50% resources recovered from destroying structures is very useful, but that only really becomes necessary when you have a few buildings, right? We have nothing really, so it's not going to be a thing for now. Somehow, miraculously, we also have 2 more survival skill points. That's this was quite effective, I guess. So here is already the survival sense, seeing sticks, stones, mushrooms, feathers, and herbs in inspector mode. Especially seeing the stones on the ground, which can be tricky, is really good. So we want to do that. We can also gain 10% more health. Now, 10% more health means we could survive any kind of fight a little longer. But we don't have any weapon at all right now, except for our axe, which technically works as a weapon, but it's not that effective. So I think this is also something for when we actually have a weapon and we're actually looking for a fight with anyone. Right now, I would avoid that. So I'm rather putting this into the survival knowledge again. And now we have the woodshed available, and then the next step would be the simple house, which is, wait, let me see. We have here the simple small wattle house. This is the one that we're looking at. Obviously, it's simple, and oh, they're looking right at me. And they're moving. Oh god. Anyway, sound like Tony from LC Sign. Anyway, clearly this is not going to be super isolated, let's say, from the wind and the rain and just all forces of nature. And so chances are that winter comes around and you will just die in here, no matter what. So the next step is a much more stable house, which not only means that it will be more comfortable for yourself, but also for your villagers, which means when they live in such a house, they will be happier. But also, these houses actually have wear and tear, meaning they will lose durability. Just like all the tools that you have, including even this little torch that I'm carrying right now, they all lose durability. And the houses do too. After every season, they lose durability. Now, these houses lose durability very, very quickly. Later on, they're coming closer. Later on, you can actually have a full-on stone house, which lasts a very long time and barely loses any durability. And this is kind of the goal. Now, as experienced players will know, the sweet spot are these simple houses. even though they're called simple, which would kind of suggest that this is like an early game thing, but they are almost the thing that you're going to keep for the rest of the game. The only difference later on will be these normal houses. They are just bigger. But they're not necessarily better because they require, well, in a funny turn of events, actually these ones do not require that much more resources. Right, but these houses here, these simple houses are the sweet spot. These are what you want. Or you can stick to these, but I don't know. They're just very, very small, as you can see here. Just not much going on here. Not much to decorate, not much to do. Later on, you can put down carpets. You can put things on the wall. I'm going to showcase all of this. For now, we are just happy that we have a roof over our head. Naturally, now I don't need this torch anymore. Do not come any closer. Well, I think they do not care. Maybe I can grab this firewood here. Thank you. And just put it inside where it is safe. Not even for me. We don't really need firewood, but any villager that you invite, you will have to provide them with food, water, and firewood. Otherwise, they will be unhappy, and then they will eventually leave, which luckily has never happened to me. I guess I tend to make people more happy than I make them unhappy. I like to think so. So now what? Do I still have logs on me? Can I craft a shovel? Yes, I can. And that in turn is going to enable us to get all these stumps out. And then we will have a lot of logs on storage. And then we can build our next building. But then the question is already, what are we going to build next? Are we going to build another house so that we can finally end being alone here and we can have our first villager? I think that's what we want to do. The other option would be to build a woodshed and kind of, well, I mean, to be honest, we also need kind of, we do need a weapon. We need something to defend ourselves. Now, we have several options to do that. Eventually, we will be able to craft our own weapon. In the beginning, this is likely going to be a spear, a simple wooden spear. A little bit more advanced would be our first bow. But naturally, as always, for a bow, you don't only need the bow, you also need arrows. And that's a lot of resources there that we do not have right now. So probably, for starters, actually let's see, wooden spear, let's try that. Craft a wooden spear, where is it? Technically one is not enough, but maybe... Maybe there's a rabbit nearby that is willing to die instantly from a wooden spear. Saw them jumping around here before. Where have they gone? Well, we can see the sun is already setting again. Aha. Here they are running. Are we gonna wait for that little guy to settle down? Well, guess he's not settling down at all. He's still running. There's a deer running. I think over there is a boar. Or even something worse, I'm not sure. And even I myself am playing with fire right now, because I'm definitely in range of the Wizzens. But that rabbit is... well, it has become a target right now. And it's kind of running towards me. But it is also getting dark. Maybe we will hunt for a bird instead. That would be easier. Only I could see one. Definitely not a deer. The problem with the deers is that you're probably going to need 3, 4, 5 spears. Whereas a bird you can usually kill with just one. At least I like to think so. Let's try it. Can you stop walking? Please. Alright, that was just a test. We've seen from one throw, the spear has lost 20% durability. And I think I see a ghost or a wizened. Just on the other side of that tent. I think it is. It could be. Sadly, there is no setting to change the length of a day in the game. I think one day is always around 20-30 minutes. Somewhere between, I think. And yeah, darkness is arriving. And darkness means death in these trying times. So I think we're just going to go to bed and not catch the attention of these. Yeah, we need to wait 2 minutes. So if you wanted to, right, you can press M, look at the map, and then you can see here, it's the outside temperature. What day is it actually? What's the exact time? Which is a bit cheating, I think. What season is it? Which year are we in? Who is the current king? Which always changes. This is randomized and has an effect actually. In terms of the king can be good, neutral, or evil. And when he's evil, which I'm not sure, August the lion I think is something more aggressive. It could be negative, could be positive, I don't know. We will have to find out. So we will have to ask, what about our king? So eventually we will get to that. So now when we look at the map, we see these exclamation marks. They're not really standing out as exclamation marks, but they are. They are quests that we can find in these villages. They can be very simple quests like bring me a bunch of logs or kill a bunch of animals for me because I'm scared to do it myself. Or something more complex. Even the main quest, which is marked by this bright yellow exclamation mark. So that's a little explanation of the UI. What else do we have? This overview here, neutral. There is a herald, which is the, what is it? The ambassador of the king, let's say, who walks around in these villages. And when you talk to him, not only can you find out about the king himself, how old the king is, if the king is actually revered by the people or not, but you can also get a quest from the herald that usually involves gathering a lot of resources or certain amounts of resources or what else? Yeah, I think that's what it usually involves. And when you successfully complete these quests, you will gain positive standing with the king. This is then indicated by these percentages here. Now, the problem is that if you do something for the king when they're evil, then your people, your villagers will not like that, and they will become unhappy. So that's going to be a very tricky thing if he turns out to be indeed evil. Now, if he was a good king, then everything that you do for the king would also benefit the people. So in that sense, I think they've really created this kind of in-game value of, okay, there's a real world happening around you, and it has an effect on you, and you have an effect on the world as well, which I think is really the secret. So to get a bit of history around the game done real quick. So the game was released in 2020, as I said, in early access to begin with. I think it stayed in early access for 3 years, I believe. And trust me, it has come a long way. I mean, you know, a friend of mine has streamed this game back when it was early access, and it was quite the mess. I mean, the basic functionalities were there, but villagers would randomly just sit in the air or fly away or float on the ground and stuff like that. I mean, maybe you've seen this on YouTube yourself. And what's really remarkable, and I think it's part of the recipe why the game has become so successful and so beloved, is because the developers really listened. A lot of the things that actually have come from the players as suggestions through the early access were eventually implemented. Be it the co-op mode was one of the most requested features, of course, but even smaller things, little, you know, quality of life features, they have been implemented. And by now the game is really a well-rounded experience that, yes, 100%, if you haven't played Medieval Dynasty yourself, and if you're thinking about it, and if you are into these kind of games, as in you like crafting, you like building things, you like to watch people build things with you, you like to set up things, as in your village, your farms, etc. If you enjoy that stuff, you will absolutely enjoy Medieval Dynasty, 100%. Now, do you need a potent computer to play the game? Yes, unfortunately, you kind of do need a good one. I think on your average, you know, workstation laptop, the game will not run. It is, after all, Unreal Engine 5. Now, I have a fairly, I mean, my system is kind of from end of 2022, but it's still very decent these days. I have upgraded my GPU just this year, and so I can easily run the game at 60 FPS for the most part. Even there, it's sometimes, if there's a lot of stuff happening, you will see it will go a little below 60, but yeah, it runs fine. But you do need a little bit of a more modern gaming rig, I would say. But probably anything from what shall we say, a 3060 Ti upwards. For AMD, if you have a 7700, the game would run just fine. A modern processor, 6 to 8 cores, whether Intel or AMD, whatever, it'll be fine. All right, now after this little technical excursion and explanation what we're actually looking at, we can, well, we can choose. I mean, this bed is later on going to be for our child, and this is going to be for my non-existent wife and myself, and so we're going to sleep. Tuck. Is it just me? Or every single day I wake up and they are coming closer? Are they not? I think they are. That is bad. And I've scared all the rabbits, and they probably would have been easy targets. And that wizened is moving erratically. I do not like that. At all. And where did the rabbits go? There is one dead rabbit in the trap. But where are the other ones? Oh! Now this is good. So you can go into some kind of sneaking mode, but the animals are very aware that you are there for the most part. And also we're not very good at sneaking for now. So this is going to be just a little bit tricky. Later on when we have a bow, it will be a little bit easier, but for now it is just a little bit painful. Now where was that rabbit? Oh. I missed. Well, well, well. What a pity. Oh boy. I am pretty sure that I am in smelling range or something. Whatever you want to call it. And up there between the bushes you can see a boar. And to be honest, if they notice that we are here, we are just as dead as we would be with a Wisent. Can you imagine how easy it was in these medieval times to die? It is easy in game, but in reality there were even more deadly things. There were things you were eating just because you were hungry, and then they turned out to be poisonous. Well, that's unlucky, I guess. Okay. I do want the satisfaction of killing something, though. So there's a bird. We're just gonna go. Maybe we are going to get behind the bird a little bit. And this time we're going to aim a little bit higher. And then this should work out just fine. That's enough. Well, that was not high enough. That spear is still fine. Well, I have caught a rabbit. I haven't killed it myself, but I have a rabbit. But we also need to craft a stone knife, right? Well, we can do that easily. Not a big deal. We will, so if we kill an animal, we need to gut the animal, and that is only possible when you have a knife in your inventory. Doesn't have to be a stone knife, can be anything. Okay, another attempt. I didn't even see that bird. I'm aiming for this one. Don't you move. Don't move. No! Okay, we pick that one then. I think this is just really difficult. I don't really think that I'm particularly bad at it, it's just that it's really, really difficult. I think that's what it is. But I did see the bird settling down over here, so we're just gonna follow him. Follow him, and then give it one more try. We see our target right there. And this time we're gonna aim so high. Hello. How dare you? He looked right at me and then he took off. Well, as tempting as the DR, I know that it's not gonna work out. Where did all the other birds go? I wonder. The deer are unbothered for now. That is going to change quite soon. Well, one of the things we have to do in the next episode is we're going to need and try find. What am I saying? We have to try and find a real weapon, and not just some spiky sticks. An actual weapon. Now we can explore a bit and try to find a weapon that someone left. Just like we found the bronze axe. Or we could even try to gather some things and then sell them and then buy a weapon. That's also possible. And then we can go hunt properly. I think this is going to be the goal for the next episode. We're going to do some actual hunting, gather some actual food, and then we're going to build a second house for our first villager, which we are then going to handpick from the nearest village. And I hope they will actually want to come to us. But who knows? Okay, so that is episode 2. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. What? Oh, we are thirsty, yes. I will take care of that, don't worry. But that's it for episode 2. Feel free to laugh at me for my wooden spear throwing skills. That would be justified. But nonetheless, I hope that it was enjoyable. And episode 3, I think I will record either later today or tomorrow. So hang on a little bit there. But thank you for watching again and see you in episode 3.